Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy, and this is the Financial Education Channel. And today we're talking about a subject that is so very important for everyone to understand and everyone to know, because you will save yourself so much money over the course of your life if you know how to negotiate. So today I'm going to go ahead and give you a lot of tips on how to negotiate, the negotiating process, and the most beneficial thing I'm going to actually do for you today is I'm going to run you through an actual scenario where I would be negotiating to buy something, and then that same exact thing, how I would negotiate it if I was a seller and I was selling that very thing. So that's going to be extremely beneficial. And so negotiating. If you're negotiating a price on something, you're trying to buy something, whether it be an iPad, whether you're trying to buy a house, whether you're trying to buy a car, whether you're trying to buy a new, a suitcase from someone on Craigslist or something, don't matter what you're trying to negotiate, the process is the same. It's a three-pronged process. So first, you need to see if you actually want the thing you want. So is it good enough where you're going to actually put some money up and try to get a bid on it? Is the initial price low enough that it attracts you, and the product good enough that it attracts you? That's step number one. So that's number one. You need to actually have something you want to buy. So you do that. Step number two, you need to find flaws. Find as many flaws in whatever it is as possible. So if it's a house, you need to say, oh, that's wrong with it, that's wrong with it. You've taken all these as mental notes. That's wrong with this house. That needs to be replaced. That's not in good shape. The house is this much old. The neighborhood has this wrong with it, blah, blah, blah. You need to find flaws, and keep all those as mental notes in your head. Now that you have the flaws all figured out, number three is you need to lastly figure out your negotiation process. And your negotiation process goes like this. There's going to be a three-prong approach. You're going to have the price that it's listed at, right? So whatever it's listed at, you need to figure out your initial bid. So your initial bid. So that's step number one. You need to have an initial bid that you're going to bid on that. Step number two, you need to have a secondary bid. Now, this secondary bid is the one that's higher than your initial bid, and that's the one you're really going to fight hard for. You're going to really try to get it at that secondary bid. Step number three is last resort, last bid, the last and final. You do not move from this number, and this number you have figured out before you even go to negotiate whatever it is you're buying. You do not go higher than this number, and you don't let this number known until the very end, if necessary. You never go in there saying your best and final right off the bat. Your best and final, that is last resort. And that's a number you stick to. You do not go a penny above your last and final. Because if you're willing to go a penny above it, who's to say you're not willing to go $1 above it? If you're not willing to go if you're willing to go $1 above it, who's to say you're not willing to go $10 above it? Or in a case of a car, a few $100s at that point. A case of a house, maybe a few $1,000s. So you stick to that best and final, because that's your best and final. You're not moving up from that number regardless. So we got an iPad here. Let's say I'm in the market for an iPad. I go on a Craigslist or OfferUp or whatever app, and I see someone is selling this iPad for $250. I say to myself, pictures don't look bad. It's $250. It's not a bad price. I think I'm going to try to make an offer on this iPad. So now I need to find flaws. So I'm going to look at those pictures online, and I'm going to try to find as many flaws as possible. Oh, I see in the picture there's a little banged up right here. Oh, there's a little scratch right there. The back of it's all smeared. It looks like it's really been used a lot. So those are all flaws I am going to keep in my head. Also, that iPad's 2 years old. So in the technology space, 2 years old, that's like ancient times, right? So that's another flaw I'm going to keep in my head. These are all points I'm going to bust out when we're going to go negotiate. I'm keeping mental notes of all these flaws. Okay, so I got the flaws figured out. What's next? It's figuring out my price points. Okay, they have the price point they want it at. They want it at $250. So in my head, I'm thinking about the price points. I'm going to want to come in at $150 for my first price point. It's really low, but it's not so super unrealistic that it's like not even worth looking at. So $150 would be my initial. My one I'm going to fight hard for would be probably $200. That's the one I'm really going to fight hard for. I came up a lot, and that one I am going to fight hard for and try to get it for $200. That's $50 off of what they were asking. And my best and final would probably be $215. $215. That's a $35 discount from what they were asking. $35, and that's it. You know, $215. That's my best and final if we have to go there. So the negotiation process goes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bid $150. You know, I talk to him. I'm like, oh yeah, I point out some of the flaws and things. I say, hey, I'll tell you what, man, I'll give you $150 for cash right now. What do they have to say? I doubt they'll take that. Possible they could. Doubt they will. I bet they'll want to come up a bit. Say they really believe in that $250 price point. They say, no, man, that's not very good. How about $225? No, I cannot do $225, man. That's way above what I'm looking at. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll come up to $200. Now remember, this is the one you got to fight hard for. Nah, man, $200, that's not good enough. How about $220? No, man, $200. I think it's worth $200. Look at this iPad's over 2 years old. You've used it a ton. Look at all the bangs on it. Look at the scrapes on it. I just saw Best Buy had this iPad on sale for $299. I know it's usually $399 brand new, but they got it on sale for $299. So I'm not even getting that big of a discount if I wanted to buy it brand new right now. Come on, man, $200 right now. Let's do it. No, man, I'm not selling it for $200. I already got another bidder that says they're going to pay this or that. Okay, so you fought hard for it. Maybe you can try to say a few more things. Play it how it goes. If it's really not working, say, okay, listen, man, I'm not going a penny above this. You take it or leave it. I don't want to waste any more of your time. I don't want to waste any more of my time. I'm going to offer $215, and that's it. At that point, the seller, they're going to sell it to you, which they probably will at that point because that's close enough to the number they want it. So they're probably going to sell it to you. If not, you walk away. Oh, well, you know, you wasted some time. You didn't get the deal, unfortunately. But you know what? You had your best and final in your head, and there are plenty more iPads. There's millions of other ones out there that you can probably buy used or buy one new or whatever you want to do. So you're not obligated to buy that one iPad. So that's looking at it from a buying perspective. We're going to look at this exact same scenario through the lens of the seller. Okay, you're selling it for $250. You got this guy, he's coming to your house. He's going to check it out. He's doing all the things I just told you he's doing. His first bid's $150. At this point, if you're the seller, that's so far below the $250 you want it. You say, man, that's not even realistic. That's so far under, I'm not even going to counter offer that. You got to do a realistic bid for me to even consider it. That's not even realistic. That's $100 off the selling price. Not even worth it. Not even worth me countering back to that. At this point, they're going to be like, oh, okay. And they're going to realize that it's kind of not a good bid. So now the first bid that they're going to do, which is their second bid, that's the first one you're going to really consider. So now they come back with that $200 price point. You as a seller, him and haw, no, man, I'll be honest. I got other people wanting to buy it. I had an offer better than that yesterday I turned down. That's just not going to work. $200. And you as the seller, you need to point out all the good things about this iPad. So you need to avoid the scrapes and the bangs and things like that and focus on the internals. Hey, the battery life still works great. It's as fast as ever. Look at how fast this is. Try to pull it up on your Wi-Fi. Do things that will show this iPad in the most positive light as possible. Whereas the seller, or the buyer is trying to look at it in the most negative way possible, the flaws of it. You're trying to look at it in a positive way. All the good things, you need to list them. Hey, it's got this chip in it. That's the chip Apple still uses to this day, blah, blah, blah. You need to say a lot of good things. So now you're countering from this first one. Now I would say come down a bit. He's at 200. You are still at 250. Come down a bit. Go ahead and go 235 now at this point. So you came down a bit. You guys are still a little ways off. He's going to say, no, that's not good enough. What about 215? He says at this point. You say, no, man, 215 is still not going to work. I'll tell you what. My best and final, I'll do 225. At this point now, the buyer can either take it or leave it. And they could have wasted all their time there. My bet is they might take it. Unless they're a really hard negotiator and they watch this video, unfortunately, they're probably going to pay $225 for it. They get a $25 discount on it. They get it $75 cheaper than they get it on sale. They get it $175 cheaper than they could get it if they bought it brand new and it wasn't on sale. So they made out decent. You sold it. You got what you wanted. You didn't get the maximum amount of value, but you didn't price it at the amount you were thinking you were going to sell it at. You priced it at an amount that's a little above what you were going to sell it at. So that's actually a scenario that can be used on whatever you're buying. If you're buying a used car, if you're buying a new car, if you're buying a house, anything, use that very process, whether you're the buyer or the seller. So whether it's an iPad or whatever it is, keep in mind that is how you negotiate. So let's recap. Number one, do you actually want it? Is it something worth buying? Is the initial bid that they want a good enough price? Number two, find all the flaws. Find everything that's wrong with whatever you're trying to buy. Step number three, bidding process. What's your initial bid? What's your secondary bid, the one you're going to fight really hard for? And what's your best and final, your last bid, the last resort that you never want to let up? So I hope this helped a ton, guys, in the negotiation process. You got to be tough. You got to be firm. You got to stand your ground, and you got to stick to that process each and every time, because you think about all the things you could negotiate in life that you could save money on. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how much money you could save over the course of your life negotiating on this, that, little things that add up over time, and then big things like cars and homes. Holy cow. That is the beauty of negotiating, because you can save so much money. And if you're one that doesn't negotiate, oh, the money you lose over time, it's in the thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars over the course of your life. It's so much money. So anyways, have fun out there negotiating, guys. If you haven't subscribed, you may want to. I talk a ton about personal finance. This is personal finance related. Talk a little bit about investing, stock markets, how to make your money into money. And I also talk about entrepreneurship, being a young business owner, being a young entrepreneur, what it's like, tips, things I've learned out there. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.